Welcome to the weekly Titans of Industry show. We're coming out of a seriously important show with Jordan Goodman, an expert on slashing debts, and Simon Black, the sovereign man. And today, just as Bitcoin surpasses the price of 1 ounce of gold, I'm speaking with Adam Meister, and Bitcoin expert. Adam, how are you?
I am great. Good to talk to you. Good to be here.
Excellent. My personal story with regarding to Bitcoin would shame anyone. I had a friend who called me up when Bitcoin was $3, $5, $7. He emailed me that he wants to give me a gift of $50 Bitcoins, and I refused just because I didn't want to have the hassle of the technology. Then he called me up at 100, 150, 200, 500. 500. I started taking a look at it, and I haven't. And it's an amazing opportunity that was just blown away because of my lack of willingness to invest in time and learn this technology. And it's probably $1 million mistake. So at Wealth Research Group, we've focused a lot in the last 4 months at understanding exactly this. And I want to ask you many important questions because essentially what the goal is that anyone listening to this interview today could, following this interview, make a decision, since they'll have most of the information that they would need to press ahead. So I want to start off with the basic question: how did cryptocurrencies get started?
Well, there was a guy, or maybe it was a group of people, named Satoshi Nakamoto. I believe it was back in 2008. And he wanted to create a decentralized electronic money. And he wrote a white paper on it, and he shared it with some tech geeks. And it started to pick up steam. They started to test it out, send it between one another, and eventually someone used it to buy some pizza. So it had real world value. So it started out as a desire to get out of the fiat money system. It appears as creating an alternative currency that governments could not control.
Okay, and so what is the blockchain? How is it connected with Bitcoin, the blockchain?
Well, I think you could say the blockchain is a shared public ledger that anyone can see. Now, I like to tell people, I like to quote this one article: Bitcoin is an open source project, meaning anyone can see the code. It is also completely decentralized. That's very important. And anyone can run a computer with the Bitcoin code. Once transactions are made, they are validated, and each computer in the network records them in a shared public ledger that anyone can see. That is the blockchain. The ledger, the blockchain, records the sending address, the receiving address, and the amount of Bitcoin transacted. So it's basically a shared database, but it's not controlled by one individual. It's a bunch of computers just saving all of this information over and over and over again in this database. So everything can be confirmed by numerous people or groups. And so it's not, there's not a weak fail point where someone can change everything because everyone else will say, well, wait a second, that's not true. It's a share, so that's one way of looking at it, a shared database.
That's interesting. You know why? Because counterfeiting is about a $500 billion industry worldwide with paper money, and so basically this is cutting all of that out of the system, and that's a large amount of money. Who are the competitors of Bitcoin right now in the cryptocurrency space?
Well, right now Bitcoin dominates the cryptocurrency market. It makes up around 86% of the market cap of all of them combined. And there's about 700 cryptocurrencies out there. The other ones are called altcoins or alternative currencies. Now there are some bigger players, but you've got to keep in mind that Bitcoin is like a giant. It takes up 86% of the entire space, while the others take up 14% combined. So Ethereum is the number 2, and then you have Dash, Monero, Ethereum Classic is another one, and Litecoin. Those are the main altcoins, the top, what I would consider the top tier altcoins that some people speculate on. Then there's all these other ones that are just straight up gambling, basically, and some are scams. You don't know where they're coming from. So it's the wild, wild west out there.
I understand. Now, how do they compete with each other, Adam? What's the difference between them? Let's say you take the number 2 Ethereum and Bitcoin. What would be the main advantages of one over the other?
Well, this is it. This is a great point to bring up. They've all added different features that Bitcoin doesn't have. So Litecoin is faster. Monero is totally anonymous, supposedly. Ethereum can do all these technologically complex things. It's like part of a supercomputer or something. That one's really complex. It's like Bitcoin 2.0, they say. So they all offer other features that Bitcoin currently does not have. But Bitcoin can adopt these features. Bitcoin could get these features if the code was altered and people unanimously or close to unanimously approved of a change. So Bitcoin can be modified. It's just very, very hard to modify it.
Okay, Adam, this is the big one, right? How? Just explain real easy. How do you buy a Bitcoin for the first time, step by step, for anyone listening, even if they're not a tech junkie or tech savvy like me, who missed on probably on $1 million because I couldn't get myself to do it?
This is a great question, and it has a very simple answer. The best advice I can give is to go to a website called Coinbase.com. Coinbase.com makes it very easy to buy Bitcoin. You sign up for their site, you connect it to your bank account. They will take the money out of your bank account when you buy the Bitcoin. It's very, very straightforward stuff at that point, and they will put it into your Coinbase wallet. So you will have Bitcoin at Coinbase at that point. Now, after that, you're going to probably want to move your Bitcoin off of Coinbase, but that wasn't the question. The question was, how can someone easily get Bitcoin, a novice easily get Bitcoin? That is the easiest way. People really need to know it's as simple as Coinbase.com.
Now Adam, do you currently use Bitcoin for purchases?
No, I don't, because I believe it is a store of value. I wouldn't use gold for purchases. I buy and hold. That's my entire philosophy, is just buy and hold. Why should I waste my Bitcoin on a cup of coffee when I can just waste fiat, when I can waste $5? That $5 isn't going up in value. But if I use $5 worth of Bitcoin, it might be worth $10 in a year. It's going to be worth more in a year. And this is, I look back, Bitcoin in the last, I remember, I think it was on March the 5th of last year, Bitcoin was worth like $400. Now it's worth close to $1,200. This is something to hoard. I hoard it. And I tell everyone to have that mentality, just to think long term. Think to the year 2020. Just set that as your date. Don't sell any until the year 2020. Just so that you have a strong hand when it comes to Bitcoin.
Now, what's the latest development in this space? The big thing is we're recording this on March 8th, and by March 10th, by Friday, the SEC will announce if a Bitcoin ETF is going to be approved. As I understand it, it's those brothers who were involved with Facebook early on that are behind us. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, they are. The Winklevoss brothers. Winklevoss. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Could you tell? I don't want you to predict if the SEC is going to approve this or not, but can you just talk about the ramifications for the validity of this industry? Because 99% of the population does not own a single Bitcoin right now, and for the life of them, they couldn't explain it or account for it. Could you explain how this becoming more mainstream is a push forward for the future of money, basically?
Yes, it would definitely boost the price, because there are so many people out there who do not consider Bitcoin to be legitimate because it's not offered in a traditional way, like a way you can buy gold or a way you can buy stocks. There's no traditional method. People feel very uncomfortable going to Coinbase.com. Certain people, they shouldn't, but they're just, and certain people, most people don't understand it's as simple as going to Coinbase.com. So there's a huge chunk of the population who have heard about Bitcoin, who want to get into Bitcoin, but they want to do it through their broker, the way they usually do it, the traditional way. So this will open the door to all those people sitting on the sidelines. It opened the door to tremendous institutional investment. Just a lot of money could be flowing into Bitcoin because of this ETF. And so if a lot of people start buying, the demand will go up and thus the price will go up. And so this is something that could be tremendous. It could make it more legitimate in so many more people's eyes, and just get more people holding it that never would have done it otherwise. And I'm not saying, and me personally, I'm telling everyone that's listening to this right now, you get it now. You don't wait till the ETF. It's as easy as going to Coinbase.com. Just because some people think it's so technologically difficult to get it, it doesn't mean it is, and that you have to wait around until the Winklevoss brothers say it's okay.
Look, I want to ask you this: the economy in the big picture, how is it benefiting from Bitcoin? What can Bitcoin really do to impact the way we transact? It comes to mind that we're cutting out the middlemen. We don't have to pay wire fees or any kind of fees. It's lightning fast to get the money across the world, especially to these third world countries that have to go through a Western Union branch, or it's ridiculous, and they take like 10-15% of the transaction. There's so many things. Obviously, the privacy is insane. You get off the grid. How do you see this? 2020, 3 years ahead. What's going on in the world? Does Walmart and Microsoft and every other retail giant have a Bitcoin department where they can easily transact with other people who want to do Bitcoin? Do you see this moving towards part of society?
Well, I don't know by the year 2020. I don't think it'll be a world currency by the year 2020. But you bring up some very interesting points. Will Western Union still exist as it does now in 2020? Because what's the point of using Western Union when you can just send Bitcoin? So I think eventually, I don't know what year, but there will no longer be a Western Union as we know it. Just like there really are no more typewriters as we know them. Just the computer got rid of the typewriter. I mean, the fax machine doesn't exist anymore, basically because of email. I mean, there's certain aspects. So there are certain businesses that it will totally eliminate, and just that makes the world more efficient and gives everyone a little bit more money in their pocket. At the same time, it will by the year 2020, more people will be their own bank. So in these developing nations, I was in Mozambique and Zimbabwe in October and November of this past year. And when I was in Mozambique, the second largest bank of Mozambique just went out of business, and they took people's money. So the people there, they don't want to trust banks anymore. They're tired of things like that. And they are very limited in when they have their money in the bank, they can't send it out of their country. So I see Bitcoin shaking up those parts of the world, because once people get the hang of it, they will be able to transfer their wealth out of their country and into their country without having to deal with their horrible banks and their horrible governments, which create these rules and regulations that keep them slaves in their country. I mean,
essentially be no countries for all intents and purposes as money is concerned, because there's no borders when you use Bitcoin.
Exactly. For the people who get involved with Bitcoin, you're right. There will be no countries in terms of finances for them. But again, it's going to take some adoption time, right? In some of these countries, it's a lot harder to get their hands on Bitcoin. It's not as easy as going to Coinbase.com in Mozambique, for example. But
there is no counterparty risk here, correct? There's no way. The whole idea is that you can't have this seized from you. This is your blockchain, correct?
Exactly. If you control your private address, your private key, they call it, it's yours. Now, you got to keep it in a safe place, obviously. There's different ways of storing Bitcoin. I help people do that actually at my business. So, but yeah, that you control it. You're not trusting a bank. You're trusting yourself, and that is a big difference. And that's going to change the way we think about money. Also, I mean, this is a paradigm shift. So, by 2020, how big will it be? Well, I think Bitcoin will be worth more money then. I will tell you that it'll be worth probably more than $1,200. So.
It's an interesting question to figure out the intrinsic value of Bitcoin, and I think the intrinsic value of it changes all the time. It just changes with the benefits and how people view these benefits. If privacy is important, then more people will use it. If privacy is not an issue, people are less fear. It's going to be worth less, etc. And it's a very interesting topic. I want to also tell you that for the past 4 months, Wealth Research Group has tracked a new theme called initial coin offerings. So for listeners who don't know, don't understand this, it's an easy thing to imagine. When you have a startup company and you want to raise money, you need to give out shares in exchange for the money you raise. And this is still a private company. Let's take a Facebook, for example. You wanna get the money to develop the software, the code, everything like that. You need seed money, and you give part of the ownership to the seed investor. Then the company goes public. That's called an IPO, an initial public offering. And at that point, all the people who were there before can sell into the market these discounted shares, and it's basically an unleveled playing field. With initial coin offerings, once a company or a new idea is out there, anyone in the world, doesn't matter your bank account, you don't have to be an accredited investor, you don't need to have any net worth of any kind. You can come in with minimal money and be part of these new startups that are going on the blockchain platform. We've tracked a bunch of them that have gone up. Most of them are worthless, but the potential with the ones that are actually worth something are insane. What has been your experience with these types of startups that are going on the blockchain platform, and have you had any positive experience?
No, I think they're absolutely ridiculous. Most of them, as you said, are scams, and they're very risky for people to get into. Incredibly risky. I would say this: Bitcoin is still very, very early on. And it itself is like getting on. If you buy Bitcoin now, it's like getting in on a Facebook IPO. And I think that's what everybody wants to be part of. And that's why these ICO things are so intriguing. But I mean, that they come with a huge warning, because they could just be guys just trying to take your Bitcoin away from you. It's a creative way to do. Now, again, some are probably legitimate, but ICOs are even riskier than altcoins. In the cryptocurrency space, the least risk is just straight up buying Bitcoin. It might not seem very exciting, but it is the basis for everything. So I would tell people, if you're a new person, try to get the hang of Bitcoin first, then try to understand the altcoins, and then explore other aspects of all this.
Great advice. It's a sound advice. I love that advice. Adam, people who want to know more about you, I saw your YouTube channel. It's like an encyclopedia. You should definitely plug that to listeners. And how do people get involved with what you're doing, and what are you doing? What is your business model?
Okay, well, there are two different things going on here. If you go to the site disruptmeister.com, it'll take you to my YouTube channel, the Bitcoin Meister YouTube channel, where I make a new Bitcoin video every day, or a cryptocurrency video every day, at least one, sometimes two a day. And so that obviously is my media operation. My channel is one of the largest Bitcoin channels out there. Again, you can get there by just going to disruptmeister.com. So that pays some of the bills, obviously, and I have big plans for that, and I love to interact with the people that way. But I also run a crypto consultancy where I answer people's questions about, what should they buy, how should I store my Bitcoin, all sorts of questions. And one of my specialties is there's a storage device that keeps your Bitcoin totally safe. It's called a Trezor. And I teach people how to install the Trezor, operate the Trezor, store their Bitcoin on the Trezor. And there are a lot of people out there who are just worried about the safety of their Bitcoin. And they should be. They should not keep their Bitcoin at a Bitcoin exchange, for example, where you trade Bitcoin. That's a really bad idea. You want to get a Trezor. And you can email me at adam@trezorhelp.com for information about crypto consultancies and about the Trezor. If you need help, if you want to set an appointment, and that's Trezor, Trezor, and it's adam@trezorhelp.com.
Adam Meister, great interview. We'll have you back again. Good stuff. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
As I said earlier, Bitcoin is my $1 million overlook, though I consistently had a friend turning me onto the subject since it was $3 per unit. I was stubborn and lazy, and Adam Meister, who was the expert Bitcoin guest of our show today, shared with us many important details about how easy it is to purchase Bitcoins. Since this is truly revolutionary and a new subject, Wealth Research Group will be running 3 special reports exclusive to the members on the basics of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. There's a number of them out right now, and how to get involved now, and about the explosive potential of ICOs. These are the new digital shares of the crypto era. Next week we will host another Bitcoin specialist to speak about mining Bitcoins. So I'd love for everyone to tune in next week for this important interview. We're also going to have a representative who is running the legislation for the marijuana industry for the United States government, coming on for a special update on the legalization of cannabis in the United States, which is an important subject worldwide. And we're going to have an explosive interview with some of the top mining people after the PDAC conference ended. This is the number one conference for miners worldwide, and so we're gonna get conclusions from there, and where the precious metals are moving from here on to the next to the rest of the year. So thank you for tuning in.